Before the founder and previous executive director exited, she want to make sure that there's a woman of color within the organization get promoted into that position, and she knows that we both have different skills and unique, and we complement each other. So and for us, for both Lynn and I, we don't feel right. You know, sometimes she was like, you do it, I'll support you, and then I said, you do it, I'll support you. But then we were like, you know, we complement each other so much, why don't we promoting the co-leadership model that really help us create more resources and also keep the organization check and balance, because sometimes it's hard when you have a mainstream organization, everything like all the services get developed based on mainstream philosophy. But having two people working together is that, because I have the skill around cultural competency and also representing the community, I can help shape the services that we provide in the community. So part of the succession plan that the founder put together is that there will be a co-directorship at HAPCO.
Why is it important for women of color to be in leadership in an organization to be able to do prevention work?
Women of color know what's going on in their community, and they know that what works for their community, what the community's needs are, and also it is important to model for other women of color, to model for the community as well. And the community really trusts working with women of color. And important work is that in a leadership, you have the opportunity to make that decision. And decision making is very important, because which program development need to be in place that representing the voices of the community, and also to set up a structure to also support other women of color who's doing the work within the organization as well.
Since you've been on board as a leader of your a co-leader at your organization, how has that impacted the staffing and the services that you provide, specifically as it relates to prevention?
What we have been doing, because of my leadership, that, you know, there are many women of color get promoted into a managerial position, into a higher position, in decision making, in grant writing, and also I'm able to create a space for women of color to be together to address all of the policies and procedure that might oppress client of color or survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, and being able to utilize that feedback and input to put into our policies and practice and procedure.
How has that helped in terms of making your services, specifically the prevention services, being more culturally relevant?
Because we have many women of color representing in the community, we making more accessible services. Like we're looking at different angle of what need to happen for faith community, what need to happen for GLBTQ community, what need to happen for immigrants community and survivors, so that we creating a really wrap around services for a client that it's an open door for clients. Screen in. We always utilizing that word, screen people in, not screen people out. And by having all of those resources and people representing all of the community, we able to provide comprehensive, responsive advocacy to survivors, domestic violence and sexual assault from all races, from all backgrounds.
How is it different to have prevention programs for mainstream communities, and how is it different to have prevention programs that are specific to communities of color?
It's very different. Community of color have their own specific needs, and mainstream program don't always work and speak for the community of color or immigrants community. And it is very, very important to look at that. I encourage every organization who is mainstream and who wants to do work in the community of color, immigrants community, GLBTQ community or faith community, to really look at the community closely and to find out what they already have, what kind of resources that they already have, and what they don't have, and to collaborate with them, to partner with them, not to come and tell them what to do, but to learn from them and representing them and ask them, what can we do to support your community, and what the needs are in your community, and it is very, very important to do that.
So if there was one suggestion that you could give to other organizations that want to do this work, one or the two top tips that you would give them in looking at this type of problem?
Yes, if you hire a woman of color to work in your organization, make sure you have support system in place for her, and also help her build her own support system in her own community, so that she's not really isolated. And please don't use her for everything. She's not representing everything. And other piece, that you develop the program based on their community, not the mainstream program.